I'll just read what Kevin Beaumont said here because I can't do it any better. Cybersecurity vendors peddling nonsense isn't new. But lately we have a new dimension, generative AI. This has allowed vendors and educators to peddle cyberslop for profit. He goes on to define what he considers cyberslop. Earlier this year, MIT released a working paper and made a web page around 80% of ransomware attacks using generative AI. Here's a snapshot of their website. By the way, if Marvel ever looks at that website, they're going to be in trouble because it's clearly Iron Man and Black Panther. There.
What do you mean? It's Dark Bobcat.
Yeah, exactly.
The other one earlier, I say Captain Courage.
It's Captain Courage.
80% of ransomware attacks now use artificial intelligence. He goes on to cite the paper. He produces copies of the paper. He even prints out pictures of the people involved. I'm not going to show that. All right. He says, I highlighted the paper online as CISOs kept forwarding it to me saying they are worried about generative AI and that he was wrong about generative AI not being a major part of ransomware group operations. And he goes on to say, it isn't, by the way, I track them. And we can confirm that from what we see based on the data that we have. We have never seen anything that looked anything remotely like ransomware in any of the attacks that we've seen. And we've worked on from Lockbit to Akira to it even mentions Emotet in here, which we haven't seen since 2018. Right? So anyway, the whole purpose of this paper was to promote this company called Safe Security. But they do it in a way that looks like it comes from MIT. Is this a scam?
I mean, yeah, it's one of those things that companies have kind of been doing that for a really long time. Like they'll get either, like for example, health, like food or health companies or whatever may partner with health, like doctors, and then, or they will be doctors, for example, take that dentist you were talking about, but they're talking about liver disease or something, and they got a dentist to actually make the comments on like what they're saying is good, right? So companies have done that type of thing for a very long time where they will pay for research papers, and then it makes it look really official. That's why whenever you're reading any sort of research paper, you need to follow the flow of money. Where is it being
what's
funded from?
Kind of goofy about that too is I hadn't done very deep research, but there's a very similar thing in food advertisement. So there's like a line that you can get super close to, but of course you can't outright lie, right? You can't sell a candy bar that says it's going to make you live longer, right? Very, very clear and deliberate lie. But there are certain things that you have liberty of saying if you can prove it to a surface level, like you were saying. They are a doctor. They are certainly a doctor. But just because they're a doctor doesn't mean they're the right doctor.
Yep.
So a lot of that in food products too, where it can almost be misadvertised, but it's still legal. On a lot of the candy bars or like protein bars as an example, actually look at that. Actually look and see what it says, because some will say, like the one that I was looking at not too long ago, a lot of protein bars have numbers, big numbers, right? Because that's what they're trying to sell you, right?
Is protein.
Yes.
Yeah.
So on some of them where you will see like 20 grams of protein, you're like, wow, okay, that's 20 grams. Some actually have the big number. And in really tiny print, it's not 20 grams of protein as an example. It'll be 20% and very tiny icon percent, right? And so the entire protein bar is going to have like 2 grams of protein, but that is legal. I believe it's legal.
Well, it's like to use your example, they'll do like the whole net carbs thing.
I'm not talking about the legality of this. I know this is very legal. You pay me enough money, I'll write something, right? That doesn't mean it's not a scam, though.
No, yeah, 100%. 100%
Right.
a scam.
Yeah. From what we've heard so far, at least, it seems like they wrote it to be able to cite it later.
Exactly.